You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real-life experiences.
Hey, thank you guys for jumping in on these Life, Hope, and Leadership podcasts with me, Nick Shabrinsky. I hope that you are enjoying the content that is coming out of each and every episode. If you are, it means the world to me if you just take a second to hit that like, subscribe, or follow button on whatever platform you're listening on. And do me a favor, send it to a few people you think would benefit from the conversation. Also, don't forget that you can jump into the dialogue of each episode on the Spotify app by leaving comments about how you liked or disliked or whatever your takeaways were from each episode. So once again, thank you for being a part of the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast community with me and all of those who are listening. So let's jump in to the next episode of Life, Hope, and Leadership. Yo, what's up, beautiful people? I am so pumped about this week. We just passed 3,000 listens on the podcast on Spotify, and that is, I believe, not including all the other platforms. So wherever you're listening at, drop that in the chat on the Spotify. Just be like, yo, this is. You can just click that link and hit that episode. You'll actually be able to leave feedback right there on the forum. And you can let us know what you are typically listening on. So if you're enjoying them, make sure you share it with people. I appreciate it. It means the world to me to know that the time I'm spending to drop these is actually valuable to your life, hope, and leadership. So yeah, today I was just really, bothered. For any of y'all who don't know, I am a pastor of a church. I'm a husband. I'm a brother. I'm a son. And I've been in ministry for quite a while. I do a lot of other things. I've written some books, and made some journals, do graphic design, whatever. I just do a ton of stuff. And I've worked in a lot of places. I've served tables, and I have worked for Intuit. I've worked for Dun & Bradstreet. I have sold retail. I have worked at Aeropostale when I was younger. I worked at T-Mobile. I've done a lot of different stuff, and there's a reason why I'm telling you all this. I was on Facebook just recently, and I just saw like a lot of different people's profile pictures, and I feel bad because I don't want anybody to take this podcast in a way that I don't intend, but I'm hoping that in this episode, I can encourage you to discover the deepest or the deeper parts of who you are. And you can even title it that. I was actually intending to kind of go from the direction of like, what are you hiding behind? But I really want to encourage you, wherever you are today, you're going to work, you're going home, you're going to your kids' sports game, you're going on a date right now, maybe you're just driving. I don't know why you're listening to me if you're on your way with a date. But whatever you're doing, I want to encourage you not to hide behind what you do. I want to encourage you. It goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, and Adam and Eve just dropped the ball, and God is coming down to spend time with them. And he's like, where are you at, y'all? And they're hiding behind leaves. They're hiding who they are. They're hiding who they authentically are in God's image. And they're trying to mask themselves based on how they perceive the situation and what they are. And that's just that was a moment of shame and fear. But as I was on Facebook, I just saw a lot of people's like pictures on their profiles were what they do. Their pictures were what they do. So for instance, I'm a pastor, and I see a lot of pastors, and once again, please, and I'm not saying don't do this, but it just made me evaluate, man, what am I hiding behind? And I see a lot of pastors, and like their profile pictures are always or often them with a microphone, them on a stage, them with a crowd of people. And I have some of them. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying don't do it, but I've seen a lot of profiles, and I started kind of, when I got spurred with the thought of it, I started finding different people with like their talent and their gift or whatever. And I started seeing like a lot of consistency that people who are musicians, almost every one of their pictures are them holding a guitar, them with a microphone, them on a drum set. There's nothing wrong with that. But the question we have to ask ourselves is are we hiding behind something? Do we authentically know who we are? Do we enjoy? Let me ask you this. Do you enjoy who you are? And I was sitting there and I said, God, why do we do this? Like, why is like an athlete, every picture is their sport. For a musician, every picture is their music. For a pastor, a preacher, they're behind a pulpit. And I just felt the peace of the Lord speak to me in a calm way. And it said, most people hide behind what they do, or they do what they hide behind. Most people hide behind what they do, or they do what they hide behind. And the old kind of reference, I guess, well, not old, but old, in my generation, people would call it, even old, younger kids. But you think of like Al Bundy, married with children. Every time he talks about his glory years, it's not in his family, it's not in his present, it's not in his job. It all goes back to when he was a quarterback or a receiver or whatever at Polk High, and he caught how many footballs and touchdowns and blah, 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 blah. And so many people get stuck hiding behind what they do, that they don't even really know who they are. And this episode of this podcast, I just want you to ask yourself, I want you to search yourself and go, wow, like, do I hide behind what I do, or do I know who I am? Because the Bible says very clearly, and I'm a Bible believer, man. I don't care whether you believe it or not. I truly believe the Word of God helps us have a true north in a world that is constantly shifting. The Bible says, it's one of the church's favorite verses, Jeremiah 29:11. God's talking to a prophet, someone he raised up, someone he loves and cares for, and he says, "Hey Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. I want to do good for you. I want you to have a future and a hope. I want to give you your purpose." And you see Jeremiah in this Bible verse, in this chapter, in this book of the Bible. And God says, hey, I formed you, I created you, like I have a purpose for you. And then later on in the book, you see Jeremiah questioning his own existence. Why did I come out of the womb? Why am I even here? And we get so defeated sometimes because we hide behind what we do, and when what we do doesn't cover us well enough. When what we do doesn't go well, man, I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I'm an actor, I'm a dancer, I'm a banker, I'm a manager, I'm a this, I'm a that. We get so vested in what we do, and we forget that what we do, we usually will not do for the rest of our lives. And people get scared. They hit 30, 40, 50. They get into that career mode, 60s, 70s. And it's like, man, who am I without my job? Who am I without? You have a lot of parents who they don't make it. Their marriages fail. And when you ask what happened, they say, well, we were just staying together for the kids. So they've lost. You hear these sayings, oh, we fell out of love. No, you didn't fall out of love, because you can't fall into love. You chose to love each other, and then you slowly stopped choosing to love each other, because you started hiding behind bills, businesses, children, responsibilities, sports, dancing, wrestling, football, hockey, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, you've raised your kids, you hid behind the kids, and then when the kids move out, you're like, wait, who are you? And there's this person across the room you don't know, because you lost yourself. And it hurts my heart. Like, I'm not a valid pastor because there is or isn't a ton of people in the sanctuary every week. That doesn't validate my calling. And what happens is a lot of times when pastors, I'm just being honest, y'all, when pastors get into an environment where there's more people than usual, or there's a momentous moment, a lot of times, like, it's awesome to have the photos and the videos of your highlights, right? For everybody. Everybody has highlight reels. And those are great because they remind you that there's something special in you. But you are not special because of what you do. You do things because you have something special in you. There are people that maybe they were on The Voice or American Idol, and that was their biggest moment. And so now they don't even know how to celebrate where they are because they're constantly focused on the highlight instead of the highlight reminding them the specialness, the gifting inside of you. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to evaluate. I want you to sit down and go, man, what great things have I been able to do? And I want to remind you that doing great things doesn't always mean you got the credit for it. It doesn't mean you were at the center of it. Sometimes some of the greatest things that ever were accomplished were a communal effort. So there are things that you got to be a part of that maybe nobody even knew you were in the credits. So I don't know, man. I just think, I don't think that God was like, yo, like I'm going to give you purpose and it's going to be solely attached to your job. This is kind of one of my thoughts with what are you hiding behind? And most people do what they hide behind what they do, and most people do what they hide behind. So what does that mean to do what you hide behind? Well, if you have anxiety, depression, I mean, those are a lot of common things right now. Now people go, well, I don't do that because I have anxiety. And it's like, okay, great. I saw a video the other day. I thought it was awesome. I mean, it was incredibly expletive, but it was a comedian, and he has on the spectrum with autism, and he when he stims, he shakes and moves a lot, and he was doing comedy, and he was very much overwhelmed by the crowd, a large crowd of people that he was entertaining, and somebody asked him, "Hey, how'd you get that?" It's so funny how, if you watch it, and I don't necessarily recommend you watch it because it cusses a lot, but if you're mature enough to handle it, the visual of what I'm trying to tell you is really beautiful. So this guy, someone says, hey, how do you get a tattoo? Because he's stemming so much, and when he's stemming, he really has a lot of tics and twitches, and he goes, I'm on the spectrum, and he starts sharing things that he could hide behind, but because he was making it public and talking about it, he was actually removing this barrier of hiding behind or doing what he hides behind. He could be like, well, I have autism and I stem and I don't like crowds, so I'm just going to hide behind that. But he also recognized that while that may be a condition for his life, he also has special giftings and talents. And a lot of people miss out on their special giftings and talents because they hide behind things. They hide behind what they've done, or they hide behind the fear or the anxiety or the depression or the autism or the, whatever the list is. And so he goes, right now I'm stemming, guys, because I'm standing in front of a huge freaking crowd and you guys are overwhelming me, but I'm a comedian, so this is what I do. And it was such a beautiful mishmash of this person who knows part of their giftings and talents, part of their purpose. And I want to remind you that while you may do something that is attached to your purpose is not solely what you do. While you may be doing, like mom, yeah, your kids are a part of your purpose, but they are not your purpose. Dad, your family, they are a part of your purpose, but they are not your purpose. Your purpose, you were created by God. There's so much more. And the reason I say that is like there was just a wonderful family in our church, and one day the mother came up to me and she said, I'm so grateful I'm taking this specific life group. It's really helping me understand how God has designed me and these beautiful things that are inside of me. She said, I feel like I lost them. I lost myself being so busy with being a mom and a wife that I lost myself. I said, no, you didn't lose yourself. You discovered parts of you never would have found. You didn't lose yourself. Before you had your kids, before you got married, you only understood one facet of your purpose. But now that you have kids, now you go, wow, I can be a mom. I can be a dad. I can be a grandma. There's giftings and talents, but they don't show up until you need them. But God forbid you shift and forget, whoa, I was able to do these other things too. And sometimes there's things that are attached to your purpose that will get on the shelf maybe get turned to the back burner. And sometimes there's things you just go, you know what? That's done. I'm good with that. Like I closed that chapter, and that's okay. But what I don't want you to do is be the type of person who goes, I really want to do comedy, but I'm on the spectrum and I get overwhelmed in crowds. Great. Awesome. I'm glad you know that. Now, discover the gift inside of you and the strength inside of you, the boldness. Build a community around you. Find good friends that will encourage you. Study from other people that who have journeyed through maybe some of the battles or circumstances that you battle. Learn from other people. Get inspired. And step out and go, hey, if one of my pastors told me this all the time, he said, if one man or one woman can do it, so can any other man or woman. And so there's somebody else out there right now that got the same amount of kids, the same budget, the same debt, the same style home, the same needs, the same wants, and very much potentially the same giftings and talents. And they decided to do it. And if they could do it, so can you. But be careful that you don't take the highlight reel and live behind it and try to give this personification that you're like, well, this is how I identify myself. And we speak, literally speaking into a society that is 100% feeling the need to identify, and we feel so boxed in by identity. And it's like, dude, you don't have to box yourself in. Now, I'm not talking about gender fluidity and stuff like that. I'm talking about when God made you, he designed you. The Bible says before you were even formed, he knew you, he set you apart, and he put purpose inside of you. And when you operate in your purpose, you bring glory to your Creator. Now, you don't believe me? People go, well, I don't believe in God. Okay, well, if you put a singer up on a stage and you put their mom and dad in the audience, when that singer, pending they're actually good and operating in part of their purpose, but if they're phenomenal, if they're a Whitney Houston style, Ariana Grande, they're a... what's homeboy's name? Michael Bublé, these singers, these Justin Bieber, people with, stupid vocal talent. And the parents, the audience is going to look at those parents and go, wow, you must be proud. Look what you made. They're so amazing. They're so talented. So how much more the God who created you? And as you discover your gifts and talents and the things that God has put you on the earth to fulfill, it brings glory to him. And you get to go, man, you know what? I'm so glad I get to do this. I'm so glad that God put this gift in me. Now, some people might be listening to this and say, I don't have gifts. I don't have talents. So I just feel like all I am is a sales associate. No, you have gifts, you have talents. You just haven't discovered them. And a lot of times people don't discover them the more because they're so afraid to step away from the highlight reel. The reality is to discover the more, you're probably going to fail on your journey there. But don't give up because there's something special in you. It's not too late to start over. It's not too late to try something fresh. It's not too late to know that there's something great in you. And the highlight reels should remind you of that. Hey, remember that time you sang in front of people? Remember that time you ran that sport? Remember that time that you preached in front of those people? Remember that time that you got to share in front of that group? Remember the time that you made the biggest sell in the business? Remember the time that you had the highest units per transaction? Remember the time where you were the number one, person on the floor? Remember. Don't stay there and go, oh, I wish. Say, wow, if I could do that, what else can I do? Because so many people, and I'm just telling you, man, like shift up the profile pictures every once in a while. Don't be afraid to turn off the filters and show a little bit of the real you. People can listen. Everybody can tell there's a filter. Everybody can see that that's the highlight. But I want to remind you, people don't love you because of your highlight. The people who genuinely love you don't love you for the highlights. They love you even for the lowlights. And the people who know you in person, they know that it's a filter. Stop hiding behind the fear of getting older. Stop hiding behind the fear of looking aged or not being as pretty as everybody else in your own perception. Stop hiding behind the highest moments. That doesn't define you. And so I don't know. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say. This is one of those life podcasts where I just want you to look in the mirror today and go, you know what? There's more to me. Flaws and all. The highs, the lows, and everything in between. Don't give up. Don't stop journeying. Don't stop trying new things. And I will tell you that one of the ways that I try to not hide behind what I do is I give what I do away. I try to train people to do what I do. I try to help other people do what they do. If there's people, other like pastors, writers, designers, I always want to try my best to help them succeed and win, to get in the light a little bit and show off what God has put inside of them. And then also one of the things I do is I always try to find new things. My wife and I try to journey to new restaurants. We always try to new items, try out new outfits, clothes we don't necessarily like. And that's a whole nother podcast for another day. But basically, don't get stuck and don't hide behind what you do, and don't allow yourself to get stuck hiding behind your feelings and your fears and your worries. Anyway, I'd love your feedback on this. I don't edit my podcast. I just go at it, hit it, record, and I share. I want it to be authentic for you. I hope that you're encouraged today, and I hope that you feel stirred up to stop hiding and to discover that you don't have to just be a single faceted person. You're a multifaceted being, body, soul, spirit. Kick butt, take names, and change your world this week. Thanks for being a part of the Life, Hope, and Leadership community.
You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.